Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. I'm your host, Earl Baisden. Joining me is co-host Andre Doc Manders. Doc, we're still in the BCB 50 over knockout competition. We did not have a show last week, Father's Day, but let's recap what happened last week because today was the quarterfinals. But in the first round, up at the Southampton Oval, Southampton Rangers defeated, I'm sorry, Cleveland County defeated with Treadwell Gibbons, the top scorer on 118, and Dion Stubble, who he shared a 194-run second wicket partnership, added 52. The pick of the Southampton Rangers bowlers were Dalen Richardson, 6.2 overs, 4 for 17. Dante Brankman bowled 8 overs, 1 made. The top scorer, no seconds up at the and they would score 111. Sean Riley was the top scorer with 31, and the pick of the Wilcox bowlers were Kevin Fubler with 9.2 overs, 4 for 34, and Micah Simons 3 for 32 off of 7 overs. And in reply, Wilcox scored 115 for 3. Deontay Darrow was the top scorer, 45 not out. Joshua Gilbert took 2 for 26 over 5. Down at Wellington Ovals, St. George's Cricket Club victory over Flats. St. George's won the toss, went to bat. They scored 253 for 9. Onias Bascom was the top scorer with 163 not out. Dakota Bascom was the pick of the Flats bowlers. He had figures of 4 overs, 4 for 12. Detroit Smith bowled 8 overs, 1 maiden, 3 for 46. In reply, Flats could only score 195 for 9 in their allotted overs. Detroit Smith was the top scorer with 86. Zico Bridges and Charles Trott had identical figures of 6 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 26. The final match that took place in the knockout stage in the first round last week saw Western Stars win by 4 wickets in a low-scoring affair against Warwick Workmans. Western Stars won the toss, sent Warwick Workmans to bat, bowled them out for 91. Robert Richardson was the top scorer with 30. Seth Campbell bowled 10 overs, 2 maidens, 3 for 25 to lead the Western Stars bowling attack. And then in reply, Western Stars scored 96 for 7. Kyrie Furbett was the top scorer with 32. Sergio Reyna was the pick of the Warwick Workman Club bowlers with 3 overs, 3 for 8. So that was the first round of the knockout stage, and that saw St. George's Cricket Club, Cleveland, Western Stars, St. David's, and Willicott join Bayless Bay and Somerset Cricket Club, as well as Devonshire Recreation Club in the draw for the quarterfinals. And those quarterfinal matches took place today, Doc, and some interesting matchups and some interesting results. Let's quickly run down today's results in the quarterfinals. Cleveland County defeated St. George's Cricket Club by 3 wickets. St. George's scored 187 all out, and Cleveland County scored 191 for 7. It was a nail burner up at Somerset Cricket Club, where Somerset Cricket Club edged Willowcotts by 6 runs. Somerset Cricket Club were bowled all out for 194, and Willowcotts were all out for 188. Down at Seabreeze Oval, St. David's went down by 8 wickets to Western Stars. St. David's scored 212 all out. Western Stars scored 214 for 2. And in the final match up at the Devonshire Recreation Club, Bayless Bay picked up a 7-wicket victory over Devonshire Recreation Club. Bayless Bay would chase 87, and they would score 88 for 3. So, Doc, let's talk a bit about these matches today. Obviously, let's start off with the nail biter up at Somerset Cricket Club, where Somerset Cricket Club batted first, and they would score that 194. They had 44 runs from L.J. Richardson, 42 from Jamal Proctor, 37 from Jacob Albertiz. Matthew Watson was 26. They got 14 from Gennaro Tucker, who was batting way down the order. And they managed to score those runs. They had Dean Stevens for Willicott take 3 for 21 off of 10 overs, 2 maidens. Chakotay Bayeston, 5.4 overs, 3 for 26. But looking at that total for Somerset, and I must add, I believe this is Chris Douglas's first match. He scored 2 runs off of 21 balls. So definitely out of nick, would you say?
Oh yeah, I didn't know Chris was playing today. Definitely out of nick. I know he had some type of injury, so like I said, in that cup match is close around the corner. Chris will probably need to get informed quickly because we got a lot of Somerset batsmen that's informed, not only from Somerset league team, from other teams too that are vying for positions at Somerset. So he would need to turn that on quickly. But it's good to see Chris back out. A lot of experience, like I said. But with the way Somerset team is, and with like I said, with the players trying out, he's gonna definitely need to turn around a lot quickly. I was a little bit, I would say, shocked at the scores. Normally at Somerset, there's beat totals. Normally you get 200 plus. So you got to get Willicott's kudos to knock them down for 197, and then end up losing by 6 runs. I mean that was a real nail biter, and you will get that between 2 clubs that are very close. One club like still throw away, and there's always viral between those 2 teams, and just goes to show you that Willicott's a team that fights either way, rather than playing Somerset whoever. So yeah, that was definitely a nail biter.
Yeah, they got that 188 in reply with Deontay Darrow scoring 50 off 58 balls. You had Chakotay Bayeston scoring 34 off of 44 balls. Shaquille Bean was 23 not out off of 42 balls, and Dwight Bayeston was 23 off of 54 balls. They were taking their time in scoring runs, other than Deontay was just over a run a ball. And everybody else was kind of struggling, but one more batsman in double figures would have made a big difference for Willicott.
Yeah, like you said, or either Deontay maybe finishing off of his 50, betting through the innings, or then you say I see Shaquille Bean got 23 not out, so maybe he ended up losing by 6 runs, so maybe he needed to get the strike a little bit more. He ended up with 23 not out. I don't know who he was betting with, but to lose by 6 runs and he ended up with 23 not out. So something went wrong where he either trusted the other batsman to hurl up, to at least hurl up his air, and that never happened. But like I said, that's what you wanted. That's a very close game.
Yeah, it's funny because he would have come in. Shaquille would have come in when the score was 137 when Herbie got out. 137 for 7, and he was batting with Deontay Darrow. Deontay got out on 166.
Oh.
And then Kyle Brangman got out for a dock, with the score still at 166 for 9. And then they added 22 runs. Him and Mackay Simons added 22 runs before Mackay was out, caught LJ off the burning of Greg Mabry.
Yeah, like you said, there's one of those games. It's a nail biter. It could have been either way. Against a great coming on, another veteran brother in Somerset getting a wicket. So, that's a very close game, and Willicott would be very unlucky not to win that one.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that so-called rivalry in the East End, because Cleveland, for the second time this season, edged out St. George's. St. George's scored the 187 all out. They had 38 from Aronde Bascom, 32 from Mackay Simons, 29 from Onias Bascom, 15 from Tamiko Wilson, 13 from Ayende Bascom, 13 from Nzari Painter. So they had Charles Trott out for 5. They had Jonte Smith out for 6, Zico Burgess out for 1, Sinclair Smith out for 5, and Shakai Darrell out for 3. Just not enough runs. They were 50 for 1, 2 for 77, 3 for 87, 4 for 87, 5 for 135, 6 for 153, 7 for 156, 8 for 161. So the wickets were falling at a regular pace after the stand with Arunde and Onias. Once that was broken, wickets fell at a regular interval for St. George's. In the bowling department, you had Alan Douglas, 10 overs, no maidens, 4 for 41. Treadwell Gibbons, 2 for 39 off of 9. Isaiah Greaves, 2 for 23 off of 5. That included a maiden. Dion Stubble, 1 for 14 off of 7.1. That included 2 maidens. And Mackay McGowan, 5 overs, 1 for 26. That a total like that with what Cleveland's been able to put out this season in the batting department, surely St. George's would have known there was going to be a tall order to stop them from getting the required runs that were needed. You think?
Yeah, I think I thought St. George was probably maybe about 20, 30 runs, maybe about 40, I could say about 40, 50 runs short. Being that they was playing down St. George's, maybe anything over 200, then they had something to build at.
Mm-hmm.
Like 187, I think they've got a lot of players just returning, like Jonte, Arunde, Bascom, a lot of these guys have been missing the season, even though Nia's just coming back too. So, but I thought maybe, if the building tech, they probably would have, done better with the ball. But at one period, I thought they was like 130 for 7. I was too.
They were 137 for 7. Yes, 137.
Right. So that means, and Dion was still betting. So that
Dion
means,
and Tamori Tucker took it home.
So that's what I'm saying. So that means those two obviously betted well in the end because at 130 for 7, still chasing like 180. St. George's was still in the game, so they just couldn't get that. If they maybe would have got Dion out, and maybe would have changed that game around. But
Dion was 61 not out off of 75 balls, 4 fours and 1 6. Alan Douglas 25 off of 20, 1 4 and 2 6s. Kuchai Darrell 21 off of 41. Stephen Bremer 20 off of 28. And Jabari Darrell 18 off of 15. That was 3 4s. But the stand of what was that? 50, 55, 54 runs for that 8th wicket partnership. Tamari Tucker scored 12 not out over 45 balls.
Yeah, so
it was about hanging around with Dion.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised that hearing that school, because I thought St. George's was still in with it. But like I said, when I found out Dion was still batting, I said, well, Cleveland's got a chance too. So like I said, that was another close game. And Tamori is a former under 19 player that I had years ago, Bill, and it's a fairly decent batsman. Nice to see him back out playing the game too.
Definitely.
So So he can hold you back. So that's a good win, another good win for Cleveland over St. George's.
Yeah. Let's go all the way down to the Seabreeze Oval, where Western Stars will be in the draw tomorrow after defeating St. David's by the 8 wickets. St. David's scored 212. They got 37 from George O'Brien, 31 from O.J. Pitcher, 30 from Eugene Bowl, 22 from Mikhail Crockwell, 17 from Sammy Robinson, who opened the inning with his son, Saki. They put on 14 runs in 7 overs to open the inning for St. David's. You had Naquan Smith getting 2 for 38 off of 10. Brian Hall 2 for 27 off of 10. That included a maiden. Trey Mendes turned his arm over again. 2.2 overs, 2 for 17. But clearly, 212 runs at Seabreeze Oval, Doc. When you were playing, what would have been the strategy to attack the score in reply for Western Stars?
Well, I tell you where Stars wanted was the opening partnership. And
Hmm.
that was the key right there. I mean, they got an opening partnership of 145 runs.
Yeah.
You know, Jason and my nephew Jaden. So,
Yes.
you know, and that's what we've been talking about partnership. Remember, we keep talking about on the show about partnerships. So that kind of broke St. Davis right there. I mean, those two, Jason, you know, Jason's been hearing that all seasons have been getting hard out. This is the first time was batted on a track where it wasn't wet. You know, it was nice and hard. You could play your shots. And even Jaden, you know, they started off cautiously in the first over two. And then you know, they started picking, you know, I think with the turning point in the game, where Jason hit 2 straight cover drives. I mean, that looked like the old Jason Anderson.
Right.
And that kind of started the ball rolling from there. And when you look, Jaden started playing shots. And when you look, it was like 50, 60, and then 100. I'm like, oh, these guys. And they really batted well. No chances either. I mean, maybe maybe could have been like maybe 1 or 2. I don't know, for stumping or run over chances. But otherwise, there wasn't no real chances. That was a good 141 partnership. And that's kind of stayed the end. And then they lost 2 quick wickets.
Right.
Jason got out, and then
Dante Wellman got out.
I mean, 2 balls, and then of course, St. Davis is feeling the fight back, and I said, "Oh no, not this is gonna happen." Then Trey, and which I'm glad he came in fourth. You stated Trey and
right,
and now you Jaden stayed, and they took the score there. Right. Jaden got 80 something not out, and then Trey got
Jaden was 81 not out off 104 balls, 6 fours, 3 sixes. Jason Anderson 60 off of 80 balls, 7 fours and 1 6. Trey got that 29 not out off of 29 balls, 3 fours and 1 6 as they chased down that 212, and they've done so in 35.2 overs.
Yeah. When I watched the second innings of Stars, and the track, you know, since the rain's gone by now, and the sun's out, it played really good. Like, it was really hard. You know, it was still a little movement. You know, George O'Brien and I think CJ got a little movement early on, but once that went, those guys they batted really well. You know.
Well, George O'Brien was the only one to take a wicket. He got 2 for 52 off of 10.
Right, and like I said, it was good to see that they didn't lose no more wickets, and you know, end up being a comfortable win for Stars.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then the last quarterfinal match of the weekend was the match at Devonshire Recreation Club, where Baylis Bay won by 7 wickets. Baylis Bay saw Devonshire Rec go to bat first, and they were bowled out for 87. Only 1 batsman was in double figures, and that was Rudolph Pitcher. 36 off of 33 balls, hitting 7 fours. No other batsman was in double figures. The extras were 14 for the 87. You had Dowry Rollins bowled 9 overs, 2 maidens, 6 for 28. Mikhail Walker, 5 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 10. And Rodney Trott, 4 overs, 1 no maidens, 1 for 20. So that realistically, we knew that was never going to be enough runs on the board for Devonshire Recreation Club to defend. And then in reply, Baylis Bay scored the 88 in 11.2 overs. Top scorer was Jared Richardson on 35 from 32 balls, hit 5 fours and a 6. The young Agard was the other top scorer. He scored 11 off of 7 balls. He had 1 4 and 1 6 in his inning, facing 7 balls, scoring the 11 runs to guide Baylis Bay to victory. Dowry Rollins was not out on 6. Zende was out on 6, and Coolidge Durham was out on 9. So for the draw that will take place tomorrow at 12:30, I believe, it's going to be Cleveland County, Somerset Cricket Club, Western Stars, and Baylis Bay in the draw. Which one would you like to see? Which matchup would you like to see?
Well, the last 4 teams, I mean, you know, usually if you look at it, other than St. George's, are probably the most informed teams. Even though Stars had little patchy periods, but they've still been, you know, getting some wins under their belts. Somerset's been consistently in the first division winning. you know, but Gennaro there, you can't count them out. And of course, Cleveland and Bayless Bay, the two powerhouses in the primitive, Bay been in the league, and then Cleveland coming second. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting draw. I'm sure Stars know either team, whoever they get, is going to be a hard match. It's just a matter of them, you know, just a matter of them getting ready for who they play, and then one, you know,
I'm banking on Bay and Cleveland and Somerset and Stars.
Yeah, it would be a nice draw, but I don't know. Yeah. It's good. Like I said, interesting matchups.
Yeah, definitely. But we're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk more of the knockout as well as women's cricket. We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this? John Barrett & Son is bringing us something fresh and exciting for the new year. Bai Antioxidant Infusion Beverage. Bai delivers the natural antioxidant benefits of the coffee fruit in glorious combination with a variety of exotic fruit flavors, with only 1 gram of sugar and 10 calories per bottle. The folks at Bai are inviting us on a world tour through these amazing flavors. Brasilia blueberry, Zambia Bing cherry, Costa Rica clementine, Malawi mango, Panama peach, Ipanema pomegranate, Kupang strawberry kiwi, and more. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, you know, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
And welcome back. Well, Doc, before we get to anything else, yesterday was the Central County Final. The first 2 rounds were obviously rained out, but it was Western Stars, the cup holders, taking on North Village at the Devonshire Recreation Club. North Village batted first, and they were bowled out for 106. Western Stars were going to make 108 for 3. For Western Stars, Jared Richardson as a guest player was the top scorer with 45. They got 14 from Shervin Jennings, as well as Saki Robinson, who was another guest player. And no one else was in double figures. Detroit Bell was out for North. Taryn Frey was out for North. Eric Dunkley was out for North. Shaquille Pitcher was out for 6. Aljamain Zoo out for North. Rolling out for 3. Andrew Griffith out for 2. Jimmy Pitcher was not out on 3. They had 19 extra, so with those 9 balls, it could have been a lot worse for Devonshire, for North Village.
Yeah, I watched a bit of that game because I had the under 11s East and West final. Yeah, they never got no partnership going. So like I said, I was impressed with Jared Richardson betting. You know, he betted right almost through to the end, got 45. Unlucky to get his half century. But Stars kept on, you know, sometimes you don't want to underestimate no team. And you know, it was good to get the game, you know, get them out and get, you know, win the trophy back and celebrate afterwards. But like you said,
Sure.
that's another trophy that they won. It's unfortunate, like the first two games, because of the rain, never played. There would have been some interesting matchups between Rack with Delray playing and then with Tough Dogs with the two guest players too. But you can't do nothing about Mother Nature. Right. And thank goodness yesterday, we finally got some sun, and he was able to play that game. It was unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And that's always been the rules. I know people say it should be replayed and this and that, but when I was playing Sunday countries, that's always it's just a lucky draw because it's the way how the fixtures are during the year. You got Central, you got to remember, you got Central Country, you got Western Country, got to play East. So every set is booked up. So it's and then even you got games played on Saturday. So it's just the luck of the draw. If you unfortunately if you play your game and it rains, well, if it doesn't get played, well, the team that has the trophy keeps the cup.
Keeps the cup, yeah. So Brian Holbill 6.4 was 1 maiden 5 for 28, and Seth Campbell Tanner was 2 maidens 4 for 32. So they kind of paired up and destroyed the North Village batting lineup that included some decent players, but they couldn't get going. So, and then in reply, Western Stars would score 108 for 3. They got 46 from Malachi Jones. Malachi was dropped on, I believe, 5. He was dropped on the boundary and went on to make 46. He made them pay for it, scoring his runs off of 31 balls. He had 6 4s and 2 6s. You had Jeff Sanath, 15 not out. Dante Wellman was out for 11. Jaden Manders out for 14. Kyrie Furbett was out for naught, only facing 2 balls, and went to check his shot and did everything but not find the fielder, but it went straight to D. Trey Bell, who took a comfortable catch, and he was out. Shaquille Pitcher was the only bowler to take wickets for Devonshire Recreation Club. He bowled 6.3 overs, no maidens, 3 for 43. But it would never be enough runs to have Bailey's Bay. I'm sorry, to have Western Stars.
Yeah.
12.3. I believe he's frozen. All right. So Doc, let's we've had 2 matches played this weekend where St. David's defeated St. George's by 7 wickets. St. George's would score 49 for 8. They played a 15 match. And then today let's talk about the St. George's one. For the top scorer was Nate Burrows with 7. No batsmen were in double figures. They had 37 extras. So that's what put them up to 49. Welcome the coaches help to rectify.
Earl,
Can you hear me?
I know you was breaking up. Yeah, you've been breaking up. I don't know if you want to get closer, but you broke up a bit. But I know you was talking about the girls' game. I know that game yesterday was a lot of extras in St. George scored 40 something, and it was like 30 something extras, and I know St. Davis ended up beating, Yeah, and I know in the women's games that was, because I'm coaching Stars, help coaching Stars myself and Hassan Durham, and that's what the emphasis we put on Stars, trying not to give up too many extras. We have Robert building at the wicket, building at the stumps to give up extras. Because it costs you at the end, and that's how Stars it was able to be worked today. I mean, work had a lot of extras today too. Even though some of our players did get runs, we got 29, 26, everybody kind of chip in, but I'm sure the extras were up in the 30s too. So in women's cricket right now,
28, actually, 28.
Oh, okay. So, and that's still a lot. But we're trying our best to cut out the extras. And we tell them we'd rather you get hit for 4 or 6 to build at the stumps, than to build the extra ball or to build sometimes some a lot of the girls is building sometimes the ball hit twice and it's a no ball. So we get them to pitch the ball up. And just to make a game up, and we end up getting like 5 or 6 bills today. So yeah, like I said, the women's cricket is coming along nicely. They still need a lot of work, on the development, and it's good to see that the girls are starting playing now. We got St. George's, St. Davis, Western Stars, Warwick. So it's good that you can get 1 or 2 more teams in there. Cleveland's got a strong team, so I'm glad to see the women's cricket is back.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you were talking about the game today at Police Field. Western Stars scored 90 for 5 in their 20 overs. Kashante Fox was the top scorer with 26. Stacey Babb scored 22. No other batsman was in double figures, but again, there's extras of 28 helped them to get to that 90. You had Ron Pemberton 3 over 20 and Butterfield 2 1 for 8. They came to wickets 4 Workman's. And then in reply, Workman for 12. Borges scored 10 before, and you were right about the bull. Siobhan Ferbert, 4 wickets. So she bowled by Siobhan Ferbert.
So you broke up that time. So what was Stars extras?
Tanisha Manders, 17.
17 extras? Okay. Not bad.
17. 12 wides, 4 no balls, and 1 bye.
Yeah, we're trying to cut that each game. We're working on that because the first game they played, I think they had close to 20-something or 30-something. So we're cutting that down.
Yes.
Yeah, so and that's what a lot of the teams need to do in order to get results. I mean, you might remember a lot of these girls haven't played for years, so, and then some hasn't played at all. So we're working on development more than winning. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it's heading in the right direction.
Oh, yeah.
In the right direction. The more they play, the more they'll get familiar with it, the more they'll start to like it and encourage others to come on board. So, yeah, keep it up. Keep it up.
And I like the venue of Police Club because the wicket, right now, being that we have all that rain going on, it's nice. It's dried out, and it plays very true for the girls to play on. So, and you got to remember, a lot of them's getting used to wearing the pads and gloves, and what I was a little bit upset yesterday was St. George's girls they wasn't wearing no gloves. They said they didn't get used to it. But they got to remember, if they get hit with that ball on their fingers, you can easily break one arm or or bruise them. So we tell our girls, I know sometimes it's hard for them to wear helmets and stuff, but we tell them you got to have your pads, your gloves on. And if you don't feel comfortable, you can put, because we have helmets for them, you can wear your helmets too. But it's a must for them to wear the pads and the gloves.
Right. Definitely. But we're going to take our next commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk players of the week. We'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Joker's putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Here's one of our favorite feature brands, true veterans of the food awareness movement. Bob's Red Mill, the U.S. leading miller of organic whole grain foods. Only whole grains have the entire value developed during growth. And once you try them, you know that this is the way food was intended to be. Try Bob's Red Mill blanched almond, whole wheat pastry, and artisan bread flours, and 1-to-1 gluten-free baking flour, unsweetened shredded coconut, gluten-free homemade wonderful bread mix, and a variety of rolled oats. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Doc, let's look at the performance from last week. Cleveland County, you had Treadwell Gibbons, a match-winning 118, the unstoppable 52. Dalen Richardson, 6.2 overs, 4 for 17. Tamari Tucker, 5.1 overs, 6 for 22. That's all Cleveland and Southampton Rangers. Moving down to the Sunday match, Kevin Fowler 434 for 9.2. Not really anything on the other side. Onias Bascom, matching 163 not out. Big around score 86 in that match, although they didn't win. A good performance, all-round performance from Detroit Smith. And then the Western Stars work at 75 off of 10, and Sergio Reyna taking 3 for 8. So Doc, let's think about last week and the outstanding players that we just called off. Who stands out the most for you?
Oh, I gotta give it to Onias. Onias Bascom, coming in at 75, I think it was 75 for 8. And making 164. So
Actually, we have a bit
I think
connection,
Onias. I think Onias was probably the standout for me. And also, you got to look at Tamari Tucker. He will go at 6 for 20. Dion Starwell's 50 something. Treadwell Gibbons 100 or something. But I think Onias, in my opinion, Onias Bascom coming in at 75 for 8 and then taking his team to 260 something. They won that game against Flats. I think Onias Bascom will be my player of the week.
Yeah, I mean, he did bail St. George's out. They were in deep trouble when they were batting, and he was able to score 163 not out.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it was some more
pleased
good
with that. Onias Bascom would be the first round player of the week, and then this week,
Well, this week it looks like we got what Dion Stubbles getting 60 something not out. Say I think that I don't know how many wickets he got. Did he get any wickets against St. George's?
Did you say?
Did Dion get any wickets today? Dion Stubble.
Young got one. He
Okay.
got one. He got one for 7.1 with 2 hits.
Okay. Yeah, well, like I said, Dion and Dalray got 6 wickets. I think out of those two. And then you got Jaden. Jaden got 80 something not out. For Stars.
Right.
He did Bill. I don't know if he got any wickets, but yeah, it's possibly one of those two there.
Right. Right. Well, let's give it some thought. I mean, you had Dion bat through that inning and share that partnership. You had Dalray Burling
against Devin Chirac.
Through Devin Chirac. I would safely say, and even Jaden's in. I safely say that what Dion was able to do to help steer Cleveland through a St. George's team would be more outstanding for me.
Me too. I definitely agree. Like you said, he also got a valuable wicket, but with him steering them through against a tough St. George's team, I think Dion would definitely be the most valuable player this week anyway.
Yeah. So we'll say that Dion Stubble will be the player of the week. So we'll recommend Lions for their knocks and for their knocks last week and this week. So Doc, we'll be back next week Sunday with another edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. Hopefully I have a better connection and we can actually stay on a bit longer. All right.
All right.
Have a good night, buddy.
See you next. You too. All right.